Single dad spent his last dollar feeding a poor woman. Next day, CEO parked her limo at his door. Fire jaw-dropping hook. The limo shouldn't have been there. Not on the broken, uneven curb outside Ethan Wallace's tiny rented duplex in Havenbrook, Ohio. Not on a street lined with rusting mailboxes and squeaky screen doors. Not with its chrome grille gleaming under the morning sun like something that belonged outside a five-star New York hotel. Yet there it was. A black stretch limousine longer than his entire living room. And inside it, sat the woman Ethan had given his last dollar to the night before. The woman he thought was homeless. The woman who had cried at the taste of a 75-cent granola bar like she hadn't tasted food in days. Except now. She stepped out in a navy business suit, hair perfectly styled, diamond earrings catching the morning light. She didn't look starving. She didn't look homeless. She looked like she owned the street she was standing on. And when she locked eyes with Ethan, her expression unreadable, her gaze sharp and haunted, she said words that made his stomach drop through the porch. "Mr. Wallace. I'm here because last night might have saved your life." The neighbors whispered. Children on bikes slowed to stare. Even the birds seemed to pause. Ethan's daughter, Grace, peeked out from behind him, clutching her stuffed penguin. And the woman, who had been trembling in rags just 12 hours earlier, stepped forward with a confidence that made Ethan's knees weaken. "Please," she said. "We need to talk." Inside. Now. Who was she? What did she know? And why did her voice sound like someone who had been hiding a truth too heavy for one person to carry? Backhand index pointing right before I reveal the truth behind that limo and the secret that tied their lives together. Hit like and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles so you never miss a story that restores your faith in humanity. Because what unfolded inside that tiny duplex would rewrite Ethan's past and future forever. The dollar he didn't have to give. Ethan Wallace had learned to live with empty pockets. He hadn't learned to live with an empty heart, though some days felt close. He worked nights stocking shelves at Parker's General, mornings sweeping classrooms at Havenbrook Elementary, and weekends doing odd jobs he found tacked onto bulletin boards at local churches. Anything to keep the lights on. Anything to keep 8-year-old Grace fed, warm, and safe. Ever since Rachel, his wife, passed away from a complicated aneurysm 2 winters ago, the world had felt too large and too loud. And money was a ghost he chased but never caught. That Thursday night, his wallet was honest with him. $1. A single, wrinkled, shameful dollar. Grace was counting on lunch money tomorrow. She had field day. She'd circled the date on the family calendar with a purple marker, drawing stars and balloons. "I'll figure it out," Ethan told himself as he left Parker's after a grueling shift. "I always figure it out." Rain slicked the streets. Cars hissed through puddles. The neon open sign at the 24/7 convenience store buzzed, half dead. The town felt tired, just like him. He pulled his jacket closer. The holes in the cuffs breathed cold onto his wrists. That's when he saw her. At first he thought she was just another shadow in the alley next to O'Malley's grocery. But shadows didn't whimper. Shadows didn't hunch into themselves, gripping their stomach as if the world were squeezing them dry. She looked mid-30s. Hair dripping. Clothes torn. Eyes glazed with something between exhaustion and panic. "Ma'am?" Ethan said cautiously. Her head snapped up like she'd forgotten people existed. I'm sorry," she said, voice shaking. I'm so hungry. Please. Anything helps." Ethan looked down at the dollar. Then at her. Then at the dollar again. His mind swirled with dad math. Could he give it? Could he not? Could he buy a single granola bar and still afford something for Grace? No. He couldn't. But kindness wasn't math. "Wait here," he said. He walked into O'Malley's, ignoring the clerk who always glared at him like his presence made the store unclean. He bought the cheapest snack he could find, a half-smashed granola bar, and walked back out into the rain. The woman stared at the bar like it was a miracle. "You bought this, for me?" she whispered. "It's not much," Ethan said. "But it's yours." When she took it, her hands shook so violently the wrapper crinkled like thunder. "Why did you help me?" she asked. "Why wouldn't I?" he said. She looked at him, really looked at him, as though trying to memorize every line on his face. Then she said something strange. "You have no idea what you've just done." Before he could ask what she meant, she turned and hurried across the street, rain swallowing her silhouette. Ethan watched her disappear, a knot inexplicably forming in his chest. He walked home through the downpour, hands numb, feet aching. Grace was already asleep on the couch, a children's nature documentary still playing on the old TV. He carried her to bed. Kissed her forehead. Whispered his nightly promise. "I'll always take care of you." But that night he lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about the woman in the alley. Her eyes. Her desperation. And that final sentence. "You have no idea what you've just done." The next morning smelled like cereal and overdue bills. Grace hopped around the kitchen singing, wearing her mismatched socks and crooked ponytail, just like Rachel used to do the ponytail, intentionally lopsided to keep things interesting. After school drop-off, Ethan returned home for a quick shower before heading to job number 2. But he froze on the porch steps. Because turning the corner onto his street, drawing every neighbor out like moths to a flame, was the kind of vehicle that didn't cross into Havenbrook unless someone was filming a movie. A limo. Glossy. Long, elegant. It glided to a stop right in front of his duplex. Ethan blinked. Then blinked again. This wasn't real. The back door opened. And the woman from last night stepped out. Clothes pristine. Makeup flawless. Hair glowing like she had an entire glam team hidden in the trunk. Everything about her screamed wealth, old, new, generational, whatever kind existed, she was steeped in it. Ethan's stomach twisted. What is this?" She walked forward, heels clicking against cracked concrete. "My name is Clara Whitmore," she said. "CEO of Whitmore Technologies." Ethan nearly choked. Whitmore Technologies. One of the largest AI research and software development companies in the Midwest. A billionaire empire. Last night she had been eating a crushed granola bar with shaking fingers. Today she looked like she owned half the country. "Mr. Wallace," she said quietly, "there's something you need to hear. Something I've kept to myself for 2 years. Something that connects us in a way you would never expect." He stepped backward, pulse hammering. Clara's expression softened, pained, almost frightened. "Please," she said. "Let me explain." Inside. "This isn't a conversation we should have on your lawn." Ethan hesitated. Grace wasn't home. He was alone. But something in Clara's voice, something brittle, human, pushed him to nod. Inside, Clara looked heartbreakingly out of place among the peeling wallpaper and thrift store furniture. But she didn't mock it. Didn't judge. Instead, she sat on the edge of the couch as though she were afraid it might swallow her. "Ethan," she began, voice trembling, 2 years ago. "I was at the hospital the night your wife, Rachel, died." Ethan's world flickered like a dying bulb. "My, what?" Clara swallowed hard. "I didn't know her personally. But I was there when she collapsed. I was the one who caught her before she hit the floor." Ethan gripped the counter to steady himself. "I held her hand," Clara continued, tears filling her eyes. "She was scared. And she kept saying your name. Over and over." Ethan's breath hitched. "She told me," Clara whispered, "that you were the kindest man she'd ever